Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call, please.
President Green,
Here.
Director Allen,
Here.
Director Brown,
Here.
Director Clayton,
Here.
Director Basket,
Here. Thank you, Allison. Moving on to item number 1, minutes of the regular meeting held August 22nd, 2024. Allison, can we get the little one?
oh, yeah.
I have a comment about the record. Well, I'll make a first, so we get a first and a second, you can ask. Go ahead.
So we have,
I'll make a motion, fix it.
we have a motion.
I'll make a second after a quick comment. There's some of the minutes, sometimes I know you gotta condense what was said into shorter things, but on item number 11, it says, I reiterated my fear of drones. I'm not afraid of drones. I'm afraid of what might happen to this airport and the people on the airport in case of drones. Not about me. I'm not worried about me being hit with a drone. So with that comment, I'll make a motion, a second motion.
Okay.
Yeah, we have a first and a second. All in favor?
I'll abstain. Here.
Moving on to item number 2, committee reports.
Mr. President, your real estate committee met on August 4th. We discussed the yet to be developed for the RV storage, some options that we have there and how to address it, some issues that have arisen. We also, committee also met with city staff, public works director to talk about a number of easements that the city has on the airport, involving water tanks, things of that nature. Well, actually, he's here, Fred's here, and we have some items on the agenda that will speak to answer all of your questions. And your executive committee met on the 5th for agenda setting.
Thank you. Any questions before moving on? Moving on to item number 3, general manager's report.
Yes, regarding our A Street rezoning project, the project went before SD-CAG's Technical Advisory Committee and received a 9-0 vote to recommend approval by SD-CAG and the Airport Land Use Commission. And I'll be meeting with city staff, city planning staff, and our consultant RM on the 19th for a planning study on that item. I see it progress. It's going well. Current hope is we'll have it completed by January. The on the 10th, yourself and I were able to participate in a tour of the Diablo Canyon power plant that was coordinated by the chamber. Hang out with some chamber members and learn all about Diablo Canyon and its future. Yesterday, on the 11th, I met with a gentleman named Robert Cooper, who's with UCLA. He's expert on California tiger salamanders. And we toured the proposed conservation easement. And he's hoping that the timing's good for them. They have these breeding tubs they use that are currently down in the San Ynez area. And it's the right time of year for them to relocate them. So we're working on them, the idea that we're giving to space within that area that they could start process of making tiger salamander here. We had a meeting today with with Supervisor Nelson and the Santa Barbara County Land Trust. We're discussing the potential for the land trust to be the third party that holds the conservation. So they're required to get a third party kind of other than the federal government and state, to look over our shoulder, make sure we're complying with our settlement agreement. And it went well, and I hear very nice things about those folks, the land trust, so I'm hopeful that that'll come together. I just want to make you aware of one other thing we're working on. And you'll know more. We're working on a line adjustment we discussed. Your board approved our work that affects the south side of the airport in G3. The idea of changing the parcel lines so the G3 property can have the standalone, actually 2 standalone parcels. Along the same lines, it turns out that the jurisdiction for sewer service is the city. But the sanitation sewer line runs right through Foster, right past the property. The city sewer system's up on Skyway. So in the real world, it doesn't make a lot of sense for the city to serve sewer, not only there, probably on the entire south side of the airport. So we're talking with the sanitation about potential for an annexation of 1 or more parcels on the south side of the airport to allow them to provide sewer service. And the city knows about it. Verbally, there's some concurrence. It makes physical sense. But we just have to get the paperwork. Sure, it's a process. They have to annex us into their sphere or their jurisdiction that requires going through LAFCO and some process. So just, we're working on that. You'll see it soon. Other than that, that's all I have.
Any questions from moving on? Moving on to item number 4, Manager of Finance and Administration Report.
I provided the demand register for your review and approval.
I read through it and make a motion to go.
We have a motion.
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Yeah. Moving on to, sorry. Anything else? Moving on to item number 5, public session. Statements from the floor will be heard during public session. Request to speak forms are provided for those wishing to address the board. After completing the form, please give it to the clerk. Requests requiring board action will be referred to staff and brought on the next appropriate agenda. Members of the public are cordially invited to speak on agenda items today occurred. Staff reports covering agenda items are available for review in the offices of the general manager on Tuesday prior to each meeting. The board will establish a time limit for receiving testimony, in this case 3 minutes. The board reserves the right to establish further time limits for receiving testimony. That being said, I have Chase. Please. Thank you.
President Nash, members of the board, airport management, members of the community. Good evening, and thank you very much for allowing me the opportunity to speak tonight. My name is Chase Pietenpaul, and I am president of the board of directors of the Friends of Santa Maria Airport, a nonprofit organization charged with engaging the Santa Maria community, airport district board, airport management, tenants, and pilots in order to educate everybody on the airport's value, organize social events, foster stronger relationships, support and dialogue amongst this community. I'm here tonight to request that you, President Nash, add a resolution to the agenda which introduces a freeze on tenant hangar rent rate increases commensurate with the lease approved last meeting for Vector Inc. As the board and airport management is well aware, on May 9, 2024, the board unanimously passed Resolution 930, authorizing a substantial rent increase on a portion of the airport's rental spaces. This resolution has no restrictions, it has no caveats, and there was no dialogue. It wasn't even legally in line with many of the hangar tenants' signed lease agreements, which specifically stipulated rent increases according to the Consumer Price Index. Your solution? Well, it was not engaging with the tenants to come to a mutually acceptable solution. No, your solution was new leases with language stating that rent, and I quote from paragraph 4 of the new lease, may be increased from time to time by the district's board of directors, giving tenants at least 30 days prior written notice of such increase. When the tenants asked about these terms, the unanimous response was, sign them or else get your stuff thrown away and you'll be kicked out immediately. These leases were shoved down our throats. There were no restrictions. There were no caveats. There was no dialogue. A strict interpretation of this strong-arm lease states that you, the board of directors, can raise rent as many times as you like, whenever you like. Imagine the concern that causes tenants of this airport. Imagine the burden that puts on small businesses operating out of SMX. Businesses that also bring jobs, tax revenue, and money to the community that you, the board, are charged with serving. It's not tenable for many. When you see an increase in hangar vacancies as a direct result. But there is a potential solution, and I urge the board to consider it. Introduce a resolution to the agenda that freezes hangar rent increases until August 31st, 2030. As you know, on August 22nd, the board unanimously approved a lease extension to Gresser Inc., which cultivates crops on a percentage of the airport's property. To your credit, and I applaud you for this, you raised Gresser Inc.'s rent the same percentage as you raised the hangar tenants. Good on you. And you extended the company a 6-year term. 6 years. 6 years provides Gresser Inc. the stability to forecast costs, the ability to plan for the future, the chance to make calculated and informed decisions. And it's awesome. Good on them and good on you. Congratulations. Offer that to the rest of your tenants. Provide them with the same stability. Provide them the same ability to proactively plan their finances. Give them the same chance to make informed decisions. You set the precedent locally here with Gresser Inc. There's justification for it. It makes sense. It's a win-win. The board gets the revenue increase you want. The tenants get peace of mind, and the community gets the dialogue that we've been asking for a change. Please consider it. Thank you.
Thank you. Do we have any more requests to speak forms? Being laid down or anything? Or moving on? Moving on to item number 6, authorization for the president and secretary to execute the service agreement between the district and Control Key Systems, Inc. for the physical access control, video surveillance, and intrusion detection system installation for the U.S. Customs building located at 3335 Corsair Circle, Center Shaw.
Mr. President, first I'd just like to say that purpose of this is that the customs folks are telling us that they have what their standards are. And they're higher than what our own CCTV and access control system are, so we couldn't just use that system. I would like to ask that you pull this item. There's some questions I need to ask you fellows. It's a significant number. But I wasn't able to resolve those questions in time for.
I got a question. Did that go out the bid?
It's the way it did. That's part of the question I have.
Okay, yeah, it's crazy, but as far as I'm concerned.
Any further questions before moving on? Before we table this item? Table. All right, reading tables. Moving on to item number 7. Authorization for the president and secretary to execute the abandonment of easement for water purposes and authorization for the president and secretary to execute the grant of easement for water purposes between the district and the city of Santa Cruz for well site improvements.
Mr. President, I'd like to introduce you to the city's public works director, Brett Fagoni, and give you some background about what the city's easements out here for their well system are and what they're working on.
Welcome, Brett.
Thank you. Good evening, board members. Brett Pogoni, Public Works Director for the city. Thank you for having me this evening. Here to just discuss kind of some quick overviews of kind of where we've been, how we got here, and what the ask is this evening. The city operates a number of water wells on City of Santa Maria for the airport property that serve the public water supply for the city. And this particular well 15, is going to be a new addition to the city's water, I guess our portfolio, if you will. The site has always been planned as part of the original plan for the city to build out the wells and complete the water system improvements for the city. And this is kind of really about the details of what it's going to take to do that construction. So the easement that is currently on record is, you know, an existing legal description, and it's kind of out in an awkward spot. It's an closer to an environmentally sensitive area. And the site that we're proposing is actually away from that environmentally sensitive area, and kind of makes more sense from a flow and function perspective. The city has actually met with airport staff on site and made sure that this is going to be a good site for everybody. And that's kind of the ask, is to make that adjustment this evening, eliminating the old easement and then moving it to the new area that we have actually environmental approval on. So I'm available for any questions as it relates to this, and can provide more of an overview if you need.
Couple questions. What's the current depth that you gotta drill down to for the fresh water?
So the well is currently still in design. We actually don't have full information on what depth we're gonna be drilling to. So when the plans are 100% complete, we are more than happy to share that information with you.
Appreciate it, because I understand, closely associated with the person in one water district for the city gets a lot of its water. And there's been some contamination at the surface level, coastal surface levels, and it's much better deep down. I just wanted curious, because I use city water, turn it on, let you drink it, and make sure that.
Yeah, the city will perform a test well and make sure that the water quality is gonna meet the standards that the city's gonna require, and that the state requires of us to provide public water. So,
About how many gallons per minute or gallon per day you expect to get out of it?
oh, this will be, gosh, you know, I don't have that in handy. It's a substantial well. I mean, I don't even know gallons per minute that we would pump out of this, but it's in the hundreds of thousands, if not millions. Yeah.
One more question. With the fragility of the grid, electric grid throughout the nation, specifically in California, you have ability to keep water running in the city, and therefore, it's part of the well.
Yes, we do.
Okay.
This actual site will actually include a backup diesel generator that will power the well, no matter what.
Who checks on the diesel generator once a well, make sure it works?
Yeah, we test our generators regularly, and we also have priority contracts. If we were to have a disaster, that would fill our facilities first.
Thank you.
Sure.
Thank you, Brett. Just for the record, can you show us where the abandonment and the new well would be on the map?
Yeah, because you have just a quick exhibit, this would help scenario. And it kind of shows a little bit more specific so that you all can see, you know, where the old easement is and where the new easement would be. That's helpful to you all. Okay.
For everyone, the old easement.
I was there.
You were there.
The old easement is just off of Midway 02.
I was in this meeting, New York City, went through all these new pits, as far as the location. It's not really moving it very far, it's just getting it more in line. More along with the wells that are existing here.
You want to point it out? Yeah. Maybe point out what the existing wells are at.
So, sorry, over here. So here's the existing wells. And this one, let's see, we're gonna be, I think we're right in here.
Yes.
Yeah. It's a little bit,
It's almost a straight line for you, it doesn't look like it.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
So correct me if I'm wrong, but this is an additional well that's been long planned
correct.
and you're just now getting to it and correcting.
Yeah, hence, you know, hence the legacy easement.
Why don't you show them the location on that one too, of the one that you're gonna abandon?
Sure, yeah, so we are planning to abandon well 7.
Yeah.
So well 7 is, it's
Right down.
right there. Yeah, so it's physically already abandoned and capped and everything. We just need to vacate the easement, which will be taken forward as a council soon.
One last question. When you go in the sanitation district, collects a lot of water, sanitizes it to a degree, and the city has a separate one. The Laguna one tends to take its discharge and run it out past this area up towards Guadalupe and inject it, the surplus down about 10,000 feet, I've been told. Do you have any problem with the city sanitation district where they distribute the final sort of cleaned up water that comes out of our wells and things.
Are you referring to wastewater? Is that-
That's the wastewater.
Yeah, we currently have an existing plant where the water that we treat percolates into the ground. And, but we are gonna be building a new wastewater treatment plant for the city in the next decade. So, that'll all be determined and how we use that water with the new permit that's gonna be associated with that plant.
No chance of transfer of leakage horizontally from one bad water to the good water.
You know, there's always a chance, but engineers take upon themselves to try to make sure that that is never going to happen. The city certainly doesn't want to make a multi-million-dollar investment that isn't going to be a good investment. And so we go through a lot of due diligence to make sure that it's part of the testing process. So, and before we actually construct it, we're going to do a lot of testing to make sure that this thing's actually going to perform where it needs to.
All right, thank you, Brett. Do we have a motion to authorize?
Yes, I'll make a motion to approve.
I'll second it. Which one, there's two, which one are you doing?
We're doing the authorization for the president and secretary to execute the abandonment of easement for water purposes and authorization for the president and secretary to execute the grant of easement for water purposes between the district and the city. Let's see how we have to roll that.
Dave, first, I'll do second.
We have a first and a second, all in favor?
Aye.
All right,
No,
do I have a motion to approve the grant of easement for well site 15?
I'll make the motion.
Second.
We have a motion and a second, all in favor?
Aye.
Thank you, Gavin.
Thank you.
Appreciate the time.
Moving on to item number 8, discussion and approval of Santa Maria Airport gas supply line relocation project and authorization for president to execute project notice of exemption under the California Environmental Quality Act.
So, Mr. President, this is, the next step in the process of allowing SoCal Gas to relocate the gas line out of the air operations area. It will run from, they'll make a new connection on the existing line just up in front of the fire station, then run south through the cul-de-sac and then around our fence line and make a connection with the existing line on our property to the south. And this is the easement that will allow them to do that. The CEQA determinations that when it meets CEQA requirements that have been met for environmental review.
Any questions? Yeah, perfect. Can we get a motion? Can you tell us a little bit more about it?
We have an existing high pressure gas main that runs through the middle of our airfield that's shallow and old. And we've been asked to limit the weight of aircraft that operate across it. And SoCal Gas thought enough of it. They said, you know what, on our own dime, we'll make this go away from it. That would be fantastic.
I'm gonna make a motion to
approve.
I'll second it.
It was the no money part.
We have a motion and a second, all in favor?
Aye.
All right, moving on to item number 9, discussion and direction to staff regarding the drainage and taxiway charter project.
So we're up to bid for, you may recall past conversations, the big hangar has in wet years has issues with just the way the grade is, flooding into the building through the large doors. So we're going out to bid for a project to improve drainage around the building. Same time, we were looking at the repair of taxiway Charlotte sinkhole, and we came to the conclusion that really would be an opportunity to combine those projects because they're similar type of, get better scale for, and hopefully better bids. So we're gonna want to tell you that's what we're working on. So we will be back when we have something for you to approve. But in the interim, we're going to have to obviously keep Charlie closed. Think we can get away with it just because of its location. His output, I think we run a whole different program here as far as getting it repaired. But I think we can take our time and hopefully get some better pricing.
Will this project qualify for this?
it's maintenance. And you want to fix it 2-3 years from now. So, yeah, I would say we need to just take care of it.
All right. Directions, keep on going. And we'll discuss it more with the next update. Any further questions?
Gotta fix the runways.
Moving on to, we're just gonna go straight into closed session. Thank you, everyone. We're gonna go straight into closed session. We exit closed session with no reportable actions. Moving on to item number 11, director's comments. Let's go ahead and start with David, Steve, and Wolfer.
I'll start with me. I got no comments, other than the air show's coming up, exciting things happening. I haven't seen a lot of advertisement, but it is coming, some of my freight trains. All right, my comment.
It's just good to be back. Other than that, I have no comment.
It's good to have you back, Chuck. That's my comment, and the water board is really just a thorn in everybody's side here. After 42 years, I can't believe that we're gonna finally get to a conclusion at some point here and be done with that water board. It's just disgraceful how they're treating this airport and the way that we never held that property for more than a minute. And now they're putting our feet to the fire. That's just disgraceful. So, that's my comment.
A couple of years ago, this board made a mistake, in my view, and that started to fine people extra money through the route of increased hangar rents if they didn't go fly their airplanes. And get 6 cents a gallon on fuel, extra fuel storage. That got corrected. Unfortunately, in my view, there's been another bad mistake made by this board, and that is the raising of the rents 50%. And the results of that, I believe, are going to be negative for the airport, for the board. I hope the board will reschedule the thought on that and just vote on that from lessons learned. People who live near San Luis Obispo are now trying to get hangars up there rather than driving down here because of the expenses of driving down here. They are now almost San Luis Obispo rates and other things. But I think another mistake has been made, generally a good board, mistakes get made by any organization. I think we should put on the agenda and reverse that 50%. So that's my 2 cents. With that, I'm done.
Thank you. So important dates, obviously Airfest next weekend. Super excited. Welcome back, Chuck. Thank you. The next board meeting will be on the 26th. The board meeting on the 10th is going to be canceled. We will continue normally after that. If anything comes up, a special meeting will be put on the books, and everyone will be notified. With that being said, I'll see you guys all at Airfest.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to adjourn. All in favor?
Aye.